Good morning, everyone. We are so glad to have you join us for the very first offline and the special BSG for SDG meeting.
Thank you also to all our BSG friends joining us via simulcast. Hello and welcome.
I request Deputy All India Women's Division Leader and BSG Head of External Relations, Media and Sustainability, Ms. Jaya Rao, to deliver the welcome address.
Good morning, everyone. It brings me a great pleasure to welcome each and every one of you to today's in-person BSG for SDG meeting. Today, we are launching Say to No Plastic campaign in an initiative aimed to contributing to the global effort to create a sustainable future for all. I'm privileged and honored to welcome our esteemed guests who have graced us with their presence today. I request Mr. Vishesh Gupta, Chairperson of Bharat Soka Gakkai, to felicitate our guests with bouquet presentations. We have with us today Mr. Amit Sachdeva, a social entrepreneur, philanthropist, and fundamental rights activist. He's also the founder of prestigious Mahatma Awards and is recognized as the CSR Man of India for his efforts and advocacy for the Corporate Social Responsibility Bill in India. He has been working with social impact leaders and change maker organizations globally to make this world a more just, equitable, and sustainable place. We are also delighted to welcome Dr. Ruby Makhija, the founder of Why Waste Wednesdays, a sustainable alternative to plastic bags. She is the member of City-Level Task Force for Plastic Waste Management and an ambassador for No Plastic Drives with the Municipal Corporation of Delhi. Finally, I would like to extend a warm welcome to Mr. Souvik Bhattacharjya, Associate Director at TERI. He has over 15 years of experience in energy and environmental research and management consulting, undertaking and leading various consultancy and research assignments for ministries, bilateral and multilateral organizations, and multinational corporations. We are also very grateful to Ms. Dia Mirza, who's an actor, producer, UNEP Goodwill Ambassador, and UN advocate for SDGs, for her complete support towards the SDG initiatives we are taking forward in Bharat Soka Gakkai. Due to her personal commitments, she could not attend the meeting in person today and has sent her special message with us for today's meeting. I would also like to wholeheartedly extend a warm welcome to all our members of Bharat Soka Gakkai present here in person and those who have joined us through a live Vimeo broadcast today. Today is a very special day for us as we take another determined step towards accomplishing SDGs by 2030. As we gather here today, we are reminded of the urgent need to take action to safeguard our planet for future generations. Climate change, pollution, and other environmental issues threaten the well-being of our communities and ecosystems. Therefore, sustainability is not just about protecting the environment, but also about creating a more equitable and just society where everyone can develop and grow. We have a responsibility to care for the earth and its people. Dr. Daisaku Ikeda, in one of his speeches, said, quote, "Sustainability is not a luxury for the few, but a necessity for all. We must work together to build a sustainable future that benefits everyone, not just a privileged few." Unquote. Therefore, we must all work together to create a sustainable future that benefits both people and the planet. Our Buddhist concept of interdependence teaches us that everything in the world is interconnected and interdependent. This includes our actions and its impact on the environment. Through our BSG for SDG meetings, we have reinforced our responsibility towards the planet and contributed to this effort by reducing our carbon footprint and waste while adopting eco-friendly practices in our daily lives. We need to embrace a sustainable lifestyle that promotes conservation, innovation, and cooperation rather than consumption, waste, and competition. Today's launch of Say No to Plastic campaign is another small yet a very determined step in that direction. By reducing our use in plastic, we can help preserve our environment and protect the health of our communities. Together, we can make a difference and work towards a sustainable future. So let's come together today with a shared commitment to sustainability and work towards a better tomorrow. Thank you all for being here, and I once again wholeheartedly welcome you to today's meeting. Please enjoy the rest of the meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Jaya. I invite Ms. Anuradha Sharma, Women's Division Block Leader from West Delhi area, to share her inspiring actions and initiatives on how she's adopting sustainable human behavior in her personal life. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Anuradha Sharma. I extend my gratitude for giving me an opportunity to be here on this platform and share my journey towards creating a sustainable environment at my home and in my community. In our society, life and the environment are often viewed as being completely distinct. But since I joined Bharat Soka Gakkai in 2012, I have learned that from a comprehensive viewpoint, they are one and inseparable. This is because no living being can exist apart from an environment. Based on the writing of SGI President Isaac Ikeda, I have come to understand that if we are concerned about the state of the environment, the remedy is to ourselves take positive actions towards it. 25 years ago, when I moved to Vasant Kunj area, it had a major water shortage issues. To fulfill the daily water requirement, I started using water wisely at my home. I started reusing my washing machine water and the water purifier drainage water in cleaning house, watering my plants, and so on. I tried my best to keep the water wastage to the minimum. And all this became a part of my daily routine, and I continued with this practice till date, even though we are not facing any water shortage now. Initially, it was very difficult to train my domestic workers to be wise with water usages. But now they go to other houses and educate others by sharing my water-saving techniques. This is the most wonderful transformation that has happened by default, which I could never have imagined. Gradually, from saving water, I moved to saving electricity, planting more plants, reducing use of poly bags by using my fabric bags, and using both sides of the paper at my home and at my workplace. My next thought was the daily waste we produce in our homes. I used to wonder what to do about it. In July 2020, I got introduced to a group of women doing composting. I learned composting as was soon able to turn the green waste generated in my home into compost. This reduced my home waste to 60%, and I was happy to get this gold of manure. I have further taught many women to do same by making video calls or sharing pictures of composting process by them. My mind was still not at rest, as the biggest issue is the dry waste, which is plastic, paper, glass, e-waste, and other such products. I really wanted to do something about it so I can avoid sending them to the landfills. Although I struggled initially to find a solution, but where there's a will, there's a way. In August 2020, I got to know about an NGO collecting all kinds of dry waste and e-waste from our doorsteps and recycling it. I immediately contacted them and started giving away all my dry waste to them. So this way, my daily house waste was reduced by almost 80 to 90%. But the challenge was that the waste pickup was just once in a month, and at times even longer durations. Storing my daily waste for so long was getting very difficult as I started getting cockroaches and mice as guests in my house. I had a word with the organization and requested them for more frequent pickups. They gave me a target of ensuring minimum 25 members to join the drive for a fortnightly pickup. It was the time I decided to go beyond myself and by educating people about the small actions we can take to save our environment. Keeping this target of 25 people, I started talking to my friends and family. In October 2021, I made a WhatsApp group and started adding people. Within a month's time, we were 20 members in the group. I streamlined the entire process of coordinating with other members of the group as well as the NGO for a hassle-free pickups. I also encouraged people and gave them handy tips how to store their dry waste. Today, we are a community of 120 members, out of which, out of which 50% members are doing waste segregation in their house daily, and remaining 50% do it occasionally. I am happy to report every fortnight we are collecting about 120 to 150 kgs of dry waste just from 50 to 60 homes in the society, which goes for recycling and not to the landfills. Apart from reducing and recycling, I also used my creativity to upcycle bottles and plastic bottles, turning them to beautiful decoration lamps and lights. So far, I have already upcycled more than 50 glass bottles and many plastic bottles, which are being turned to planters in my home. I even occasionally exhibit my work to promote awareness. People started liking my work and even buying them, providing me an additional source of income. I named my small venture as Now It's Beautiful. I'm a textile designer by profession and take hobby classes for children. I do a lot of upcycling activity with the kids, where I try to develop them in eye where they can see the beauty in the trash and enjoy the upcycling. I also educate them to save water and electricity in a fun way. So what we did, we asked these kids to collect rupees 10 from the family members each time they see them wasting electricity and water. Kids really enjoyed collecting money, and in a fun way, they got into the habit of switching off lights. Parents also admitted that this way they realized how often they used to leave the electric equipments unused. It was a win-win learning for all. Today, keeping my learning from my mentor in my heart, I'm determined to support the BSG for SDG initiative with all my heart and help many individuals adopt sustainable human behavior as a way of life. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Anuradha. And now, we move to the most special moment of the day, the exclusive All India launch of the BSG Say No to Plastic campaign. I invite BSG Chairperson, Mr. Vishesh Gupta, to introduce the BSG Say No to Plastics campaign.
So good morning, everyone. And a very warm welcome to each one of you, and thank you very much for attending today's meeting. We also have many members who have joined on Vimeo broadcast. At the same time, there are a few non-members also who have joined on Vimeo, because a few of our guest speakers here, they have invited their friends and people amongst their circle of influence who are fighting for sustainability. And also I've been receiving messages since morning that my so-and-so is fighting very hard for no plastics. So can we invite him or her for the meeting? So there would be a few non-members. So my heartiest welcome to each one of them. So I would like to once again extend a warm welcome to all our friends, the guest speakers here today, Mr. Amit Sachdeva, Dr. Ruby Makhija, and Mr. Souvik Bhattacharjya. A warm welcome to all of you. So they are not just guest speakers, but they're very close friends of BSG. They have become close friends in the last few months, thanks to our interactions and also the support and guidance they have been giving me and into BSG from time to time for all our initiatives under the umbrella BSG for SDG. So Amit, as Jaya had introduced, is the CSR man of India. Thanks to his efforts, the CSR bill was introduced in the parliament in our country. And more than anything else, he is a Gandhian. So he and his wife Mugdha Arora is also here with us. Warm welcome to you, Mugdha. She was also one of the panelists in the October Peace and Sustainability Conclave last year. So he is a Gandhian, so is his wife Mugdha, and they have that Gandhian value system which resonates very strongly with the cause and the value system which we follow and adopt in Bharat Soka Gakkai, coming right from our president, Dr. Daisaku Ikeda. So very warm welcome to you, and we are looking forward to listening to you from the Gandhian and the CSR perspective in the context of plastics and sustainability in general. Dr. Ruby Makhija is the brand ambassador of MCD. She is doing hands-on groundwork in various colonies in Delhi, and she has won many awards. She is an ophthalmologist by qualification. That's why Dr. Ruby Makhija. When I came to know her for the first time, I was wondering why doctor is there, because I could never imagine that you are a medical doctor and now fighting like a crusader against for the cause of sustainability. So thank you very much for coming today. Souvik is also a member of BSG from Noida, and he works for TERI. He is a scientist, researcher. All his life, he has spent time working on how to remove plastics from the face of this earth. So, warm welcome to you, Souvik. And one thing I have learned and also unlearned many things by interacting with the three of you is the passion they have in their hearts, you know, to work for this cause of sustainability. And I felt that unless and until we have this passion, we cannot translate that into actions and then further into results. So the kind of invaluable contributions each one of them have made to society, I think it all comes from the passion which is there in their hearts. So the idea of launching this campaign of Say No to Plastics actually came from all the three of them. And also Ms. Dia Mirza, who could not come here today, but she has sent us a video message. So I'll start with her first. So when she came for the October conclave last year, as many of you would recall, that she talked only about plastics or no plastics. And she said that how the plastics enter the placenta of the fetus, and also it is found in the breast milk and so on, and how it will really wipe out human life from the face of this earth. So that was one very great source of inspiration for all of us in BSGs to start thinking that under our initiative BSG for SDG, what is it that we can do in the field of no plastics? Then we met Dr. Ruby Makhija. Now she is a hands-on person. She has gone from street to street in Delhi, removing plastic, creating awareness, urging people not to use plastic to whatever best extent they can, making cloth bags and selling it to people so that they can use cloth bags instead of plastic bags. So this was another great source of inspiration. Then I met Souvik, who gave me some scientific reasons for not using plastic. They were very scary. So we thought that it is high time that we do something. Then I talked to Amit, and he said, yeah, this is the right thing to do. So finally, we decided to launch this campaign, which is Say No to Plastics. So of course, as you all know, that our biggest source of inspiration is President Ikeda's writings and the guidance President Ikeda has given us in the field of sustainability. So one particular guidance from his one of his books which he has written, I would like to share with all of you before I introduce the campaign. Dr. Ikeda has said that a sense of being part of the great all-inclusive life prompts us to reflect on our own place and on how we ought to live. Guarding others' lives, the ecology and the earth is the same as protecting one's own life. By like token, wounding them is the same thing as wounding oneself. Consequently, it is the duty of each of us to participate as members of the life community in the evolution of the universe. We can do this by guarding Earth's ecologic system. So when we read this, this was like the final confirmation that BSG needs to do something so that we can really protect our environment. And we felt that what is it that we can do in which we can include all our members, all of you, like 75,000 members. And we felt that we would talk about no plastics. So this No Plastics, Say No to Plastics campaign is under the initiative BSG for SDG. And this is a 2-point campaign. So the first point is say no to plastic bottles. And the second point is say no to plastic bags. So it's a simple campaign, but the most important thing is that each of you will be a crusader in this campaign. You will be a participant in this campaign, an active one, not a passive one. You have to do it by yourself and also encourage others to do. So is that okay? Are you all ready for that? Yes. Okay. So the idea behind this 2-point campaign is that one is we didn't want to make it very complicated. It sounds simple. It may not be so easy to remove plastic bottles and plastic bags from our lives and from our environment. But we can always make a start, isn't it? And the second thing is that when we consciously try to stop plastic bottles and plastic bags, then we will start seeing plastic around us. Like if I look around in this room, I can see a lot of plastic, though we made a lot of effort not to put plastic in this hall today because we are announcing this campaign. But still there is so much plastic which is unavoidable. It is a part and parcel of our life. So let us see the plastic which is around us. And then if we are participating in this campaign very actively, then we will start thinking, how can I stop or reduce or refuse to use this plastic which is around me or in my life? And whatever plastic waste I'm generating, how I can recycle that plastic. We will start looking up on the net as to which are the organizations which will help us in recycling this plastic. So our entire thought process will change. The way we will start looking at our surroundings will change. This is what is called sustainable human behavior. And that is actually the campaign which we are continuing right from 2021 when we launch BSG for SDG initiatives. So Say No to Plastics is just another addition in this sustainable human behavior. And one thing I learned from Dr. Ruby Makhija, and I'm very proud of it, she said that spiritual organizations are the ones who can really achieve sustainability in our country and in the world. There is really no organization which is a better fit. Spiritual organizations are the best fit. And that gave me a lot of confidence and clarity that we in BSG are the ones who can really do this. So my request and appeal to all of you is that please participate in this very, very actively. Is that okay? Yes. So the second part of this campaign is that we are going to measure it. So like you have started or stopped using plastic bags and plastic bottles. So we are going to measure it, and we will measure it through our SDG, BSG for SDG mobile app, which many of you have downloaded and you are using. So in the next few minutes, Shruti will explain that what changes we have made in our mobile app so that we can measure it. And what we really want is that how through this campaign we can contribute to society. So what we are wanting is that how after 1 year we can make a statement that we launched this campaign on 19th March 2023, and in the first year so many members of Bharat Soka Gakkai participated in this campaign. Let's say 100,000 participated, and we were able to save so much of carbon footprint by saying no to plastics, in particular plastic bottles and plastic bags. So that is where the app comes in, and it will measure this. The last thing I want to share is that it's an exciting and a surprising news. We have also composed a song with an animated video to mark this occasion of launching this campaign. And this song and this video has been prepared by the Arts Division and the IT team of BSG. So Shamit is here. Shamit, can you? And our IT team is sitting in the control room, which is in the midst right here. You can't see them, but they can see all of us. So they worked actually in the last 2-3 days, to roll out this song. I was speaking with Amit last night. It was about 10 p.m. And he was asking me what is the agenda for today's meeting. So I was briefing him that this is how the agenda will flow. Then I told him, see, we are also working on a song, but I'm not very sure whether it will be ready or not. Sometimes around 2 or 3 in the morning, it may get ready. Then Shamit sent me the song on WhatsApp at 2:35 a.m. today. So that is how this song has been created. So now we will play this song and you can all see it. Once again, my heartfelt thanks to each one of you and also to our guests. Your presence here endorses that what we are doing is the right thing to do. Thank you very much. So we'll go down.
No more plastic, let's take a stand. We'll change our ways and heal our land. Recycle, reuse, reduce our waste. Create a better world, a better place. Let's say no more plastic. Say no plastic. No to plastic. No more plastic. No more plastic. Say no plastic. No to plastic. No more plastic. There's a problem in the world today. A problem that won't go away. It's hurting our planet, hurting our health. Need a change to save ourselves. No more plastic. Let's take a stand. We change our ways and heal our land. Recycle, reuse, reduce our waste. Create a better world, a better place. Let's say no more plastic. Say no plastic. No to plastic. No more plastic. It's time to act, it's time to care for our ocean, land and for our air. Say no to bottles, no to bags. Igniting others to join our hands to say no more plastic. Let's take a stand. We'll change our ways and heal our land. Recycle, reuse, reduce our waste. Create a better world, a better place. Let's say no more plastic. Say no plastic. No to plastic. Ain't no more plastic. We have the power to make a change. A whole new world, a brand new age. We start today. Let's do our part and make a difference with every heart. No more plastic. Let's take a stand. We change our ways and heal our land. Recycle, reuse, reduce our waste. Create a better world, a better place. Let's say no more plastic. Say no plastic. No to plastic. No more plastic. No more plastic. Say no plastic. No to plastic. No more plastic.
Thank you, Vishesh. This is so wonderful. Many congratulations, everyone, on the launch of this exciting campaign. Who is ready to get started right away?
Great. I invite Shruti Nangya, All India Young Women's Division leader, to walk us through the steps of how we can participate in the BSG Say No to Plastic campaign on the BSG for SDG mobile app.
Thank you, Rohit. Thank you, Deko. Good morning, everyone. So wonderful to see all of you here. So the first starting point to really take action in the Say No to Plastic campaign is to make sure that we've downloaded the BSG for SDG app. We've all downloaded the app? Yes. If we haven't, then this is your chance. Not right now, but after the meeting. Remembering the incidents from the previous launch meeting, but please go back home and download the app and start using it more proactively. But whatever features I'm going to introduce right now for the Say No to Plastic campaign in the app, they're not right now available on the app. They are in development, and in the next 3-4 days, in the coming week, they will all be ready. But let's use this time to familiarize ourselves with the app and to become comfortable. There's so much more information and content available on the app that I'm very, very sure all of you will feel very, very excited and happy using that app. So how the Say No to Plastic campaign is being made available on the app is, firstly, when you have logged in into the app using either your member ID or your email ID, then you will see on the homepage a banner that appears that says, I pledge Say No to Plastic. So in this banner itself, you can make a pledge, commit yourself. This pledge is being counted. So the more pledges we have, the more, like the force of so many thousands and millions of BSG members and our friends who are really going to commit. So let's make sure the number of pledges keep going up again and again. The moment you've pressed on the pledge button, it will take you to the campaign page where you can actually make that pledge. And then along with that, we can also upload our actions in terms of how we are refusing plastic bottles, or we are using glass bottles, and we are saying no to plastic bag, and we are using cloth bag, So action in the sense of a photo or a video that you are kind of, you can click or record and then upload it on the app. So on the bottom navigation of your phone inside the app, there will be a button called Upload Action. And when you press this, in the next screen, you will see that a plus button comes. And in that plus button, you have to, when you click on that, it will open your gallery. And you can, there is where, you can upload your photos or your videos where you're kind of showcasing how you have replaced plastic with other material in your day-to-day usage. And that file that you have uploaded, then after that, there will be another page that will ask you to choose a campaign. Now this campaign is specifically where when you drop down, it will help you select that I am adding my action feed for the Say No to Plastic campaign. So just from the drop down, just select Say No to Plastic, and it will make sure that your action is tagged to the Say No to Plastic campaign. And then the next step after that, when you have selected the campaign, you go to next. This is where you add your keywords. So if you're saying using a cloth bag, or you're adding plastic as a keyword, then these keywords are already tagged to various SDGs at the back end. So when you enter the word plastic or cloth or bottle or something, then SDG 12 will pop up. So you can select SDG 12 or, life on land, life on water. So all those keywords, when you're entering, then select SDG number, you can select from here. And then when you move to the next stage, it will ask you to review whatever you have uploaded, your image, your video file, the description you have added so far for the post that you were uploading. You review it and then you press submit, and then the post will go into the feed page of the app. So Anna, you will receive a thank you message on the next screen. You will receive a thank you message which will showcase that you have successfully submitted your post. And so when you go to the feed page inside the app, here is where we can also again measure how many posts have been uploaded specifically for the No Plastic campaign. So for example, on the top, you can see the 14 feeds as a representation. Right now it's written. So this number will showcase how many feeds in total are visible or available inside the app. So let's take this number to extreme ends as much as we can and add many, many posts, photos, videos where we can inspire everybody that how much BSG members are taking action to say no to plastic. There's a toggle button on the right hand side that says full feed and campaign feed. So what it kind of displays is that if you want to just view the feeds which are only specifically pertaining to No Plastic campaign, you can toggle between that. You can view only posts related to No Plastic campaign, or you can view other posts also which may not necessarily be related to the plastic campaign. There could be other SDG related feeds and posts as well. So you can toggle between those two, or the same thing you can do even in the bottom. If you see a campaign speaker phone kind of icon is there. So if you click on that icon, it filters just the campaign feed, just the No Plastic campaign posts will be visible, and if you toggle it back unselected, then again all other feeds will be visible. And if you are viewing a Say No to Plastic campaign feed, it will showcase that tagline, I pledge to say no to plastic, with the photo or the video, and the description will be visible. And this is how we can view as to how many feeds are available inside the app. So this is how the flow of the entire Say No to Plastic campaign is going to be available inside the app in the coming week. We have to make sure sure that we spread the word to all of our members in our districts, all of our friends, all of our family, and ourselves also download and start using the app more proactively. If you go to the next screen, it's just a summary of like what all features are there. It's we have on the homepage the Pledge Now buttons there. That's where you can pledge. You can add feed in the upload action, and then the steps you can add videos and images. You can add select the campaign through the drop down, and then you can select an SDG to map it to the feed, review and submit, and then the thank you screen is displayed. So is this all okay for everybody? Yeah, so let's really determine to take action as the lyrics of a very popular song that we sing in BSG, Song of Trailblazers, goes, drop by drop the mighty river grows. So we may feel, but it's just my one action, what difference will it make? But please remember that drop by drop, we will actually create a huge Herculean transformation of, refusing and saying no to and removing plastic from our environment. So each effort, each action counts. Let's remember that and continue to take action. Okay, thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Shruti. We all are eagerly looking forward to adding our actions on BSG for SDG mobile app and take this campaign to all our friends. Our honored guest, Ms. Dia Mirza, is unable to join us today, but has kindly sent a video message for all of us. Let us now watch her video message.
I'm very grateful to Bharat Soka Gakkai for, making that commitment and honoring it, because I really believe in the power of not just individual action, but collective action. When everyone gets together and says, we're going to lead the change, it's going to have a ripple effect. And I think the only way we can successfully implement a ban or successfully implement change is when we all decide to do so. At the Peace Conclave, we were talking about the Sustainable Development Goals and how peace was such an inherent or integral part of achieving those goals, and how we couldn't achieve any of those goals or attain peace without achieving those goals. And I find that when we talk about peace or we talk about progress or prosperity, it is completely and entirely connected to human health. And by starting this powerful initiative on the 19th of March, what BSG is basically saying is, we believe in health, we believe in the importance of environmental health and the fact that it's connected to human health. Plastic is permeated into our lives at such a level that most of us don't even see it. We don't see the plastic on the plastic wrapper of our chips and biscuits, or our dal and atta, or our chawal. We don't see the plastic on the floral bouquets that we give and receive. We don't see the plastic on ribbons or balloons. We don't see the plastic in all the things that we use and buy come wrapped in. But for me, I remember having this very, very powerful moment which really shook me. I was traveling from the source of the Ganga all the way to sea. And when you're surrounded in a beautiful natural environment and, just the perceivable beauty of nature is destroyed by the heaps of plastic waste that you see in this pristine environment, and you realize that yahan pe to koi waste management system nahi hoga. Nobody is going to come to collect this. Nobody is going to, dispose of this scientifically. It's landing in the most beautiful, most revered river on the planet, the Ganga. And then it's finding its way into our food chain. It's polluting the soil, it's polluting water, it's polluting air. So it was like a huge shake-up for me. And after that, I started seeing plastic everywhere, which is something that I think all we have to do is look outside the window. And most places, plastic is being dumped openly. And everywhere irresponsibly. There was a very powerful cover for an environmental magazine that had a plastic earbud stuck in the snout of a sea turtle. And that's again another item of plastic that we don't even think of, right, when we use it. Ki ye plastic hai. And at that time, the byline or the headline for that article said that by 2050, there will be more plastic in our oceans than fish. Now, that's one thing. There are new studies that reveal that plastic has been found in the placenta. Plastic is being found in breast milk. Plastic is being found in the bloodstream of babies. Plastic is being found in human feces. And of course, we've all seen those very startling images of plastic being consumed by cows and other animals, elephants. So plastic, unfortunately, the nature of the material is such that, like I said, it's a combination of fossil fuels and harmful chemicals. It doesn't really completely break down. It's not natural. So even when it breaks down over 800 years or 1000 years or 400 years, it only breaks down into a microplastic. So these plastic pieces or microplastics are not going to go anywhere. What it will eventually boil down to, or what will eventually really contribute to change, will be personal choice and individual patterns of consumption. So travel with your own bottle. Go with it wherever you go. So this goes with me everywhere I go. It's been traveling with me for 5 years. Every minute, millions of plastic bottles enter landfills and oceans and waterways, polluting them. So avoid single-use plastic bottles, avoid single-use plastic bags, avoid accepting, decor, festivals, plastic flowers, things that are going to harm the environment, but also things that you can easily avoid. Refusing, unnecessary packaging, speaking to big packaging companies, all these other e-platforms now, engaging with them and helping them drop the use of bubble paper, drop the use of plastic, drop the use of thermocol, because thermocol is also plastic. Making sure that you use cutlery and crockery that is, either steel or made with leaves, basically natural materials, or recyclable, reusable materials. So whatever it may be, gatherings, meetings, doing everything free of plastic can make a huge difference. And there are so many people who are doing it now and doing it successfully. Pausing to ponder on, is this gift item plastic? Is it necessary to have it packaged in plastic? How can I make the gift wrapping paper plastic free? So there are so many alternatives that are available. Supermarkets tend to put things in plastic packaging, which is unnecessary. And then maybe when we stop buying those, they'll realize that it's time that they stopped packaging it in plastic. Try and buy things like lentils and pulses and rice and atta and all the other things like we did in the good old days from the wholesale market. Take your own burnies or take your own gunny bags, whatever those may be, and get them to fill it directly so that you don't have to buy things in smaller quantities in plastic packets. So once you start on that process, once you embark on the process of refusing plastics, you'll find many, many ways to do it. These are some of the things that I do. BSG as a movement is a movement that works towards creating better awareness, external and internal. And when we are more aware and our consciousness is more expanded, then it helps us be a lot more responsive to human tragedy, to human needs, and of course, I think it will also make us a lot more responsible towards the fact that everything that we need to be good comes from the earth, and we need to treat our earth with more respect. And I hope that consciousness, that awareness will translate towards more respect and love for the earth. The most powerful movements across the world are being led by young people. Politicians, policymakers, governments, industries, everyone, civil society is being held accountable by young people. So you have a very important role in not just the choices that you make as individuals, but committing yourself and your aspirational growth to being more sustainable for everyone. So lead with example and show everyone that you are the change. I just want to say I'm grateful to all of you for choosing to be better and do better and make the difference that you are. And together we will succeed.
I now invite our special guest, Dr. Makhija, to share some words with us. Welcome.
A very blessed and blissful morning. Such a pleasure to be, an honor to be amongst you all. Thank you so much, Visheshji and BSG. It was my dream. It was my dream to be talking to BSG and other spiritual organizations for this very, very, very important topic. Thank you. So without wasting a minute, because I have my eyes on the clock, yeah. So, yes, plastic. So we, as rightly explained by Shruti, and beautifully she summed it up, Diya, that what are the problems associated with plastics. I'd just like to add a couple of facts here. These are hard-hitting facts because time is less. Every week, we ingest 5 grams of plastic, and we are not aware of it. This is the size of credit card. If you've seen, the weight of credit card is about 5 grams. So can you imagine what is going inside us? Now, the consumption of water bottle and plastic bags. This is the most important contributors to single-use plastic. Bottle consumption every minute across the globe is 1 million. Every minute. Plastic bags, 5 trillions every year. If I put it all together, it's enough to cover an area twice the size of France. I'm sure Souvik will add more to it in his address. So, Great Pacific Garbage Patch, as Diya mentioned when she was traveling from the source of rivers to seas. There's something called Great Pacific Garbage Patch. You all go and Google about it. It's 1.6 million square kilometers. So these are just facts which probably most of us don't know, but we should, to see what is the impact of plastic in our lives. What are the problems with plastic? And are these actually the problems with plastic or problems with us that we need to introspect? Mindless consumption. We have used plastic, gone to overuse, misuse, and now to abuse. That's the biggest problem with plastic. Second, 50% of all plastic used which Delhi data says, which ends up on the landfill site, is single-use plastic. A poly bag which is used for an average of 12 minutes, just 12 minutes. It's there on planet Earth for 1,000 years. So, and even if we all want, and even if we all resolve to take out plastic from our lives, we possibly can't. At least not in the near future, till the time we have an equivalent to plastic that is cheap, that is durable, that is leak-proof, lightweight. Yeah, it is easy to mold into anything. It's a great insulator, it's strong. So, I mean, I don't see it happening, at least in my lifetime. So what is it that we can do to tackle this menace? Yeah. Third, as Dia's already explained, plastic doesn't decompose. It breaks down into microplastic. So microplastic, she's already explained, breast milk, table salt, veins, blood samples, feces, it's everywhere. So we don't need to prove that it's already through our food chain, it's entered into our bodies. And another problem with plastic. Now, is it actually with plastic? We take plastic items, okay, fine. There are no alternatives, we pick up plastic. How do we use plastic? We don't even use that product for 20% of its actual utility value. So we need to bring it up to 100% at least. And we can even make it 150 or 200% if we send it for recycling or for reuse, right? Then, improper, irresponsible disposal. Chips wrappers, littering here and there, wherever we feel like. Irresponsible. And that's one of the biggest factors why we are not able to recycle these recyclable products. So I've described broadly, if you Google, you'll get 2,000 problems with plastic, but these are the broad areas where we need to bring solution. Anuradha, I'm so impressed. I'm really impressed by what all you've done. And, she said I was struggling for solutions. So let me tell you, we don't need solutions. We are the solution, right? She's proven it once. And you can all do it. We all, as I say, there's a very little difference between ordinary and extraordinary. Just that little extra. And we all are born extraordinary, unless we choose to be ordinary, right? So we all can think. Now we've kind of seen what the problems are. So solution, she's already described. Mindful consumption. Let's buy only if we need, not just if we want and we can afford it. We need to think there. Then reducing single-use plastic as much as possible. As much as possible. It might not be possible. It might be very difficult. But it's not going to happen overnight. We need to give it some time. Don't be harsh on yourself that you just forgot. It's human. You might forget once, you might forget twice, you might forget 3 times. But as long as you're making conscious efforts, it will bring a change. Don't give up these drives. Don't give up these campaigns. Don't give up thinking that you've which you say failed a couple of times. There are no failures. They're only learning lessons. So we all need to keep these very specific things in mind and then work towards solution. When I'm asked many a times what are the solution and what are the virtues and skills that can lead to success, first of all is being human. So when we are human, I think we accept ourselves as human. We are not God, and neither are we lower belong in the chain. So second, as Visheshji said, passion, perseverance, hard work. And you have mentorship here in BSG for SDG is such a great initiative. It is, you can't see it now, but you see it 5 years from now. You see what amazing change on the ground this initiative is going to bring. So before I end, I think youth, as she mentioned, we have 66% of our population is under 35 years. So we have all the energy, we have all the ideas with us. We all need to channelize it in the right direction. And every little action matters. Anuradha has proven it. I'll just give you one single example. If one person adopts a cloth bag, you end up saving 500 plastic bags in a year. So you matter. You, each one of you matters. Just don't think about what others are doing, what the governments are doing, what the corporations are doing. Do your bit, because every bit will make a difference. Every drop makes an ocean. And before I end it here, I must mention about the corporations and the government. We have a certain type of perception about the governments and the corporation. I've been working with MCD for the last 6 years. Yes, there's loads of scope for improvement, but I can vouch for it. The officers are leaving no stone unturned to change this. The problem is immense. The magnitude is very high. So time is the only thing, and we can't do it all by, the governments. We all have to be equal stakeholders. What is a government? They are our representatives. So let's do our bit to support them. And I wish all the very best to BSG for SDG initiative. And I'm always there and will continue to be there. Keep pushing, keep giving my ideas and inputs as to what best we can do to bring about a great impact in this regard. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ruby. We are truly moved by your passionate spirit and clear direction. Now, I invite Mr. Souvik Bhattacharjya to share some words with us.
It's going to be good afternoon. Good noon, yeah. It's a great privilege and honor for me to speak in front of my fellow comrades, Chairperson of BSG India, Vishesh, for this wonderful initiative and being a part of this initiative very closely. The discussion and the presentation and the deliberations that we have been hearing over the last 1 hour has been extremely motivating, and it reinforces our attitude, our thinking, our vision towards doing something for the greater good and for the future generations. And that what exactly the definition of sustainable development comes. It talks about meeting the requirements of the current generation without compromising the needs of the future generation. Now, what I will try to do is maybe a bit of numbers to validate or maybe strengthen something which may have been discussed and would be discussed in the next 1 hour or so. So if you look at a straw of a coffee or a plastic carry bag or even a wrapper of a chocolate, so these are all an indispensable part of our life. And these modern conveniences are so ubiquitous that we simply forget what kind of impacts that these materials have in our life. If I look at how a plastic is made, so many of you may be knowing about it. It's deep down the earth's surface. You extract the crude oil, you transport it all the way from a very different region to a country which is scarce in resources. You process it. In the processing, you get different kind of grades. And one of the grades is naphtha. And you use the naphtha to basically produce different kinds of propylene and ethylene, which essentially leads to the conversion of monomers and then polymers. And depending on the kind of requirements that you have in terms of its application, so whether it's a rigid packaging or a flexible packaging, or even its application in the automotive sector, or even if it's an application in the household space or in the agriculture space and industry and so on and so forth. They are given different kind of forms. So some of them are called thermosets, thermoplastics, to give a specific structure, just like a plastic spoon we have. So it gives a specific rigidity so that it can hold certain weight and it can be utilized for the intended purpose. Now, if I look at the invention of plastics, maybe almost 150 to 200 years ago, but its relevance in the modern society started only like around 60, 70 years ago. And if I look at the overall 75 years of its like increased consumption in the society, it's been almost 8 to 9 billion tons globally. But more interestingly, half of it actually had been produced and consumed over the last 15 years. So you can see how enormously important and integral part of our life these plastics have become. Now globally we produce around 300 million tons of plastics, right? Which is equivalent to the sum total of the human weights of all the people in the world. Right? And while there are different estimates on the volume of these plastics getting recycled, and we are at times very happy to see that so much volume of plastics getting recycled in the society. But to a large extent, we don't know the difference between what is recycling, what is upcycling, what is downcycling. Say for example, when we recycle a plastic, it actually is not recycling, it is downcycling. So for example, you recycle it, you melt it, you then use the material and blend it with a cotton fiber to come out with various kind of products, which is definitely a kind of maybe a useful product for many, and we say that yes, we have been able to recycle that one, but exactly it is not recycling, it's downcycling. So the impact that we are talking about here is not only in the upstream, during the consumption, which might be few minutes, few seconds even. For example, if we buy a chocolate and if we have to eat it right then and there in front of the store, I don't think so it's going to be more than 10 to 15 seconds in our hand. So it's going to be immediately thrown out. So essentially the volume of the material that had gone into manufacturing that, we call it a baggage. We might be seeing this plastic as a very small item, but the kind of baggage that particular product has in terms of making it convenient for use on your hands, and the subsequent baggage that particular product will have in order to recycle that one would be huge. We don't see that one. So it's a hidden one. So we have seen that various packaging materials, like say for example aluminum or PET or glass or even Tetra Pak or multi-layered packaging materials. So they have their different emission and carbon footprint along their entire value chain. So how much amount of emissions that particular product had during its lifetime, right from its inception to the system, the production, the consumption, and the end of life management. So that actually is huge compared to what we see. Now, many chemicals and plastics which are used are very harmful. I don't want to go to the details of what has been already delivered. It has issues in the endocrinology, in the human behavior, in the fertility and the reproductive aspects, and many more. So it has been well established. But the way it has actually been consumed, and I'm very interestingly, like the numbers that you shared is very alarming, that we are actually consuming 5 grams of plastics. So that's coming in very different forms. Say for example, we are taking seafood, we are taking water. Few months ago, I was in Sweden, and Sweden is considered to be one of those countries which have come out with one of the world's best water treatment technologies globally. And I was discussing there with few of the leading scientists to understand if there are technologies which can really recycle or get out plastics from the system, microplastics from the system. Unfortunately, there are any. So if we look at India, it produces around 3.5 million tons of plastics. We produce around 20 million tons. we generate around 3.5 to 4 million tons. But the recycling capacity in the country is very minuscule, largely because we do not have the technology to segregate, because all plastics cannot be recycled at the same time. It has to have the proper segregation, and that is the reason why there has been so much emphasis to ensure that we are able to segregate those plastics. But the real problem is this, the single-use plastics, which have been classified by the government. You cannot recycle them. No rack picker is going to come and collect it because it doesn't fetch any kind of a revenue for them. It's soiled. It's so small that it hardly gives them any kind of an opportunity to recycle. So it's a menace from the perspective of its the baggage that it carries, and more importantly, because of its non-recyclability. It can't be recycled. So that is the real problem with the single-use plastic, and there is a conscious effort towards ensuring that we implement this ban. Now, finally, on the alternatives. Now, obviously, when we talk about alternatives, there are biodegradable plastics. There can be other worms that have been invented globally which actually feed on these plastics, and they can eat away. But in terms of its commercial viability and its technological feasibility in terms of upscaling is still a big question. So from the perspective of the 3 R's, I believe many of you may be knowing: reduce, reuse, and recycle. The first best principle is reduce. Anything else apart from these reduce part is something which is not environmentally acceptable, but we introduce that one to, in a way, camouflage or negate the effect of the reduction because of various interests. So, as I end, winning off this particular aspect of plastics by reducing our consumption is the only way forward how we can tackle this entire management of single-use plastics, because of the burden it has, the minimum consumption it particular product has in terms of its utility, and finally the baggage it will have after it is consumed in the society. So I would like to end with, again, taking the words from what Mahatma Gandhi said: we need to lead the change and need to make that change as a part of our life, and that becomes a way of life. And what could be a wonderful initiative than the Say No to Plastics? Because here, with the like-minded thinking, with the shared goal towards meeting this larger objective of achieving Sustainable Development Goal by 2030, I think such a mass implementation would really transform this change in the society, and we hopefully would be able to bring in the true element of circularity. We keep on talking about bringing our entire production consumption system circular. So what could be a kind of a best way to actually reduce and prove that we are mimicking the ecological systems or the ecological processes in the current as well as in the future times. So thank you so much again for your attention, and looking forward to this participation.
Thank you so much, Mr. Souvik, for these inspiring words. I now invite our keynote speaker, Mr. Amit Sachdeva, to deliver the keynote address.
Oh boy, it's difficult now because Ruby talked about plastic, Souvik talked about plastic, and Dia, of course, gave a lecture. Do we have some other product to talk about? Because I think plastic, what should I talk about now?
You're using plastic right now.
Yeah, I think that's what we have to change. So, all right. Well, good afternoon, everyone. So, Mukta, can I have my bag here? And let's start with you all. So, before I start speaking about plastic, let's understand what all we know about the plastic pollution. So I have a quiz for you. So, there'll be 3 options, one to choose from. It's not kaun banega crorepati, but you'll get a chocolate. And let me remind you, there is no lifeline or phone a friend. So, all right, so let's start. Are we ready? Yes. Okay. So the first, can I have you with me, Shruti, so that we can make people happy? So the question is, what plastic is made of? There are three options. One is plants. Second is crushed up rock and glue. And third is oil, coal, gas, and chemical. And raise your hand. Wow. So let's hear from you. Very good. So people are aware. So, and you know, yeah, no, wrapper is not plastic here. Yeah, foil. So, yeah, it was difficult for me to buy something. I went to a store. I said, what should I buy? I should go to a sweet shop and buy some sweets and with no plastic. But the close I could get is this Ferrero Rocher, and they said, Modern Bazaar guys, please give me a, paper bag so that I'm talking about plastic today. So, yeah. All right. So another one is, I think I've chosen maybe easy questions for you. So, what are single-use plastics? A, objects that are made to be used once and thrown away. B, objects that are made to be used by just one person. Objects that can be used again and again. First one. Yeah, you are right. So here you go. Let's give a big round of applause. Okay. All right. The third one is, how much plastic rubbish goes into the ocean every minute? So the first one is enough to fill a trash can, enough to fill a bathtub, enough to fill a dumper truck. Let's now equality. You gentlemen. Yeah, dumper truck. Very good. Excellent. So fourth one is, what happens to a plastic bottle if you bury it in the ground? It biodegrades and disappears. It breaks up into tiny pieces but doesn't disappear. It turns into rock. So you are there. Yeah. Yeah, second option. Very good. Perfect. Actually, I marked the answer yellow so that I should not forget. Yeah. All right. What is a garbage patch? A place in a garden where rubbish is kept, a giant floating mass of plastic rubbish in the ocean, a square of plastic. There, the lady in blue. Yeah, you. Beside you. All right, so I have to count how to count these. Okay, you can answer. Yeah. The second one. Yes, very good. Thank you. So another one is, how long will a plastic bottle take a breakup in the ocean? So take to break up, sorry. A, 25 years, B, 100 years, C, 450 years. Yeah, you with the glasses. Perfect, very good. So how many species, marine species, are harmed by plastic pollution? A, 52, B, 693, C, 1326. You can answer. Very good. Yeah. So, now the last question. What percent of its plastic does get recycled? A, 9%, B, 35%, C, 50%. Yeah, you can answer. Perfect. Absolutely. So, very well-informed audience. I mean, Vishay, you are doing good job. Wow. Let's give a big round of applause. Yeah. So, coming back to a statement, we the people. What do you understand by we the people? This is, yes, you can answer, please.
All of us, all the members of the world, planet.
Yeah. We the people. And you have the power to bring a change. I mean, you are using your franchisee only for the vote. And that is so sad. You have the power to stop this menace called plastic. Stop taking bread in the morning for a month. I'm serious. Stop it. Bring these companies to the knees. We should be given choice. I want to take my bread in plastic or in a paper bag. When I was small, there was a wax paper the bread used to come in. We don't question. Think about the egg trays today, nowadays, in plastic. It used to be made of, yeah. And that was biodegradable. Stop taking it. I can guarantee you more than a month if you put these organizations in a mode where you don't buy their stuff. You can make them do whatever you want. And that's your power. That's the power of we the people. So use that. I'm not talking about sending you to the Stone Age, but we have to someplace start doing it, engaging with people, catching the young generation as they are 65% of the population above 35 years of age. So you have to do it. And then we can bring about change. Gandhiji talked about self-reliance. I know plastic is making our life very easy. But I tell you one thing. How many people read the history here? Can you raise hand, please? So if you look at the history, we will be the short-lived race. You start from Greek Empire, to Roman, to Persian, to Ottomans, all lived 700 to 1100 years. I don't see we are going beyond, and we are just 200 years old approximately. I don't see we are going beyond 400 if we'll keep on behaving the way we are behaving. We are making houses, assets for our generations to come. If there is no life, what we'll do about these houses and cars and bank balances? How are we going to give them? We have to give them life. So Greta Thunberg rightly put that we will not forgive you. So she's talking about us. The people who are not socially conscious and keep on exploiting the resources, including corporates and the big firms. So we have the power to make them do what we want them to do. Not, we have to do this divide and rule policy now among them, that we will divide you and we'll rule because we are the people. So I think we can start from there. And then, as Anuradha started with 20 members and reached how many? 120. So look at that. So if we all add 120 members in our initiative, our job is done. And we can really leave this earth for our future generation so that they can live. So that's I wanted to talk about, that you are powerful people. You can do anything you want. You can change the governments. But this is the time to use your franchisee to change the system, the environment, the way we are operating. So I would like to play a video for you all. Can I have that video, please?
Strange things are happening. Why is no one saying this? Ooh. Once it was just a dream. Now it's a certain calamity. I don't know why it's just maddening to see the walls start crumbling.
Yeah. When I started initiative to pursue the system to bring about this bill, I was not working towards the bill actually. I wanted to stop the basically multinational companies to the way they are operating, that they were operating in our country. So when they are there in their own country, they are very responsible. They have all the sustainable initiative and social responsible behavior towards the communities, toward everyone. But when they were here, so they were not like Monsanto, Dow, Pepsi, Coke, because they know that we are a developing nation and they can, by investing in our country, they can really arm twist us or do whatever they want to do. But the bill could not come for only multinational companies. It has to come for all. So bill came. So Corporate social responsibility, again, we have moved from corporate social responsibility towards the ESG, where environment is a very important aspect of it. Not only giving money to charity under the corporate social responsibility initiative, but investing in the ways the industries and corporations operate. So now the idea is, it was always there, the individual responsibility. So individual responsibility have to set in and work toward the, all these issues. Of course, we can in our own right, as we talk about the plastic bottle, as we talked about the carry bags, that we can do. So individual responsibility, it's our own responsibility. We have to, nobody is going to do for us, right? Corporations are making money and they'll make the money, and one day all decide, let's leave these guys here and let's go to Mars. So they are finding life on Mars not for you, for themselves. So that we are here doing what we are doing to help them to go there and live a very happy and sustainable life. So I think hold them back, not let them make the profit and invest in those ways where, we are taken for a ride. So now we must act now. So I want to talk about this. We will leave the world a better place than how we found it. So the concept of leaving the world is better place. It's a quote from poet Ralph Waldo Emerson. He said, to leave the world a bit better, whether by a healthy child, a garden patch, or a redeemed social condition. To know that even one life has breathed easier because you have lived. That is to have succeeded. So I want to congratulate here on my end note, Vishesh, for bringing this initiative, and add the research rightly put that when we talk about the spiritual organization can really make a difference, because here we are on the same page. You go in a school and tell them, "Bacha plastic use nahi karna aapko." A few of the students would go home, their family is responsible, they will not use, others keep on using, because they are not on the same page. Here, I understand one thing, that we are on the same page. That is why we are here, attending this conference. So, yes, spiritual organization can make a lot of difference. And I would like to congratulate Anuradha ji for her initiative, and Dr. Ruby. As Vishesh pointed out that she's a doctor, so my son is preparing for the NEET, and God bless him. And I'm pursuing my master's also, beside law. So I said, I'm in race with you. I'll also become a doctor. He said, no, you can't. I said, I'll do doctor in corporate governance or CSR. And when they give you the degree on the day, let's call Dr. Amit Sachdeva also. So he was very jealous. Dad, you can't do that. I'll write outside my house, Dr. Amit Sachdeva, and then Dr. Krishna Sachdeva. So he was, that's not fair, Dad. But I'm going to do that. So thank you so much. And I'm very happy for this opportunity, Vishesh. And Souvik, the kind of work TERI is doing, and the kind of knowledge and insight you have in this matter. I'm sure that part of BSG community, we can really reach out to them on an individual basis and guide them how to take this up. And thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Amit. We have so many learnings and takebacks listening to all of you. And now the floor is open for questions and answers. We have on stage with us Mr. Amit Sachdeva, Dr. Ruby Makhija, Mr. Souvik Bhattacharjya, and Mr. Vishesh Gupta to address any questions that you may have. I request those of you who have a question to kindly come to the mic in the aisles and ask your questions. And those joining us online can send in their questions to Ms. Shruti Nangia. Thank you. Please.
I'm following sustainable practices quite a long time. and I'm an advocate by profession. On an individual level, I follow a lot of sustainable practices, and I'm associated with a lot of NGOs, youth NGOs, basically working for environmental causes. My question is to Dr. Ruby Makhija. You have worked in colonies on sustainable practices, and you've worked with communities. How do you, how was your experience? And in particular, the waste that comes out from each individual house in terms of plastic waste, like milk packets and glass bottles. They are not recyclable. I mean, even if you try to send them to the local kabadi wala, they do not accept it. This has been my personal experience. I've been really trying to find solutions to upcycle them, but they do not accept it, and eventually it goes into landfills. So how has been your experience in working with local communities, and how can we at individual levels we do it?
Yeah, so thank you for the question, very relevant, and I am fortunate that I just did not work at an individual level. I'm the secretary for a small colony called Navjeevan Vihar, which we converted into a zero waste model within 6 months of when we started. So it's a beautiful journey, let me tell you. And it's very, very, very doable. So when we say zero waste, wouldn't mean that we do not generate waste. It means precisely what you said, that no contribution to the landfill site in the last 4 years. We've saved over 5 lakh kilograms of waste from going to the landfill site. So, as I said, it's doable. Now, what are the factors that helped me or the colony achieve it? Number one was a platform, which I say RWA. So, certainly, every individual effort matters. But if you get a bigger platform, it amplifies those efforts. Secondly, the coordination with my urban local body, which is the municipal corporation. So unlike some of the people or some of the organizations who choose to keep only questioning is extremely important, I chose, apart from questioning, I chose to keep giving my inputs. I chose to handhold and support them. And believe me, when I said that they were super cooperative, they took each and every of my input very positively, and they helped me achieve this. So without the support from the corporation, it wasn't possible. Now, again, as you said, that at an individual level, what you face, that you really don't know what should go where. He's an expert, Souvik sir is an expert at that. But he said that, there are various categories of plastic that need to be segregated for us to recycle them. So what another thing which I did was, I can now reflect and say with certainty, that was really important for us to achieve this, was sending this complete and full and authentic information to each and every resident, that what is recyclable, why segregation is important, what all categories you should segregate into, and also a team who can go door to door with them. For 2 months we did that with the help of an NGO, and train not only them, the staff, the garbage pickers, and everyone, even the guards, and we also integrated this into an incentive scheme for women help. So we have about 200 women help in our colony, and we integrated, because it was very difficult, very easy to sensitize you all. Yeah, you, as I say, the soil is fertile, but for them, they have huge problems in their lives. So this is really low on their priority list. So what we did, we incentivized this program with free biodegradable sanitary napkin distribution for all women help, which the entire colony contributed towards. So now, for the last almost 3.5 years when they come to me every month to pick up the supply. I talk about 3 things, just 3 simple things. Let's not complicate it, you know. 1, segregate your waste. And why segregate your waste? Second, do not use single-use plastic bags. Bags, just bags. I mean, they can't afford bottles. Yeah, so bags you're not supposed to use. And third, no littering and no spitting in. Not just in the colony, but outside. So you see, I mean, it wasn't easy for us. 3.5 years it's taken, but we started somewhere. So if you start today, you analyze the problem and then look for solutions, strategize your plan, and then execute, and then monitor, and repeat this cycle of analyzing, strategizing, planning, executing, monitoring. Keep on repeating it. It will happen. And the ULB plays an important role here, and a mentor. So you have BSG now as your mentor. It's not just one mentor, it's a whole team who is going to support all your initiatives. We'll very soon, Visheshji will put all these questions, query into solutions we'll convert and reach out to you. Thank you.
So we have a few members already lined up there. They'll ask questions. Yeah.
Sure.
So please go ahead.
Good afternoon. So my question is that while we understand replacing plastic is so very important, at the same time we also understand that plastic industry is one of the greatest employers. Specifically in India, which is a developing economy, saying no to plastic can create issues in the economy. So how do we go about that? Could you please clarify?
Dr. Ruby, or who would like to take this? Souvik, okay.
Yeah, it's a very, very pertinent question, and you are correct that over the last 15 years, India has emerged as a global hub for manufacturing of various polymers, and in fact, we have started exporting to other countries. Now, this can't be an excuse that in the future is actually going to support or the employment opportunities would be only in this particular sector and not in the other sectors. Now, this is a very skewed thinking, I feel, in terms of exploring employment opportunities on investments. And that is where I would link that one with the Sustainable Development Goals. There are 17 goals. If you focus on only the employment and completely ignore the other dimensions of sustainability, then at a net level, we are at a loss. So we have to look at it from a very broad perspective, not on a very skewed or a myopic perspective. The moment we are able to take a kind of a broader perspective, we know that, okay, maybe for a very small benefit, we are actually having kind of losses along the entire value chain. So rather than like focusing on this specific aspect of employment and investments, there are new opportunities, new areas of bringing in sustainable materials, energy, and other sectors that will attract a lot of more investments than possibly what this particular sector is going to achieve. And I feel that there is a saturation in this sector. So it would be only a new entity coming in and maybe like replicating the same technology. So nothing more innovative or sustainable is going to happen in this space. So the only way we will be able to bring the transformation would be to have a disruptive thinking in the processes and bring in newer dimensions, products and services that will cater to the larger good.
I want to add here.
Please.
Souvik very rightly put, and one more thing. Plastic industry would, you'll not lose more jobs rather than artificial intelligence or automation. So they are anyway going to take your jobs. So let's fight for it.
Another thing, it's when it comes to livelihoods versus life, what would you choose, right? And the people who are deployed in the plastic sector, it is one of the greatest inputs that I've given that we should engage the very same people to introduce alternatives to those plastics. So livelihoods will not suffer.
you. Okay, one more. Yeah, Amit wants to
So
say.
another thing that when I talked about that will be short-lived race. If you look at all the empires, the kind of inroads we have made, the kind of advancements, technology, science, which has, made our life easy. But we'll be the, shortest living race, in spite of that. So let's fight for life.
Thank you. Yeah, next one.
Good afternoon, everyone. My question is, as we announce a no plastic policy, how can we remove plastic packaging for our monthly journal value creation?
Okay. Well, this question was expected. So we had already prepared for it. So just for the benefit of Amit and Dr. Ruby, Value Creation is a monthly journal, and it's like an A4 size magazine, and it comes in a plastic cover. So what we have now done is that from April issue onwards, it will come in a paper cover. We are removing the plastic. Yes, please. Those who want to ask questions, if you can line up, at the back, and the mic can be brought forward. If the queue is long, then members can stand. But we'll close at 12:55, the Q&A. So you have about 15 minutes. Yeah, please go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. So my question is, how can we nudge organizations to use the CSR funds for the cause of sustainability, especially in the field of plastic?
So we were discussing that thing in the morning itself, that there are very few organizations working in the environment space. Because when we talk about no plastic, it's an environment space. So very less NGO, most of the NGOs working in the area of education, health, women empowerment, sexual abuse, and corporations are willing, so that more and more non-profit organizations, when we are coming out, especially you have to identify the industry. Let's talk about Dabur. Let's talk about Coke. Let's talk about Pepsi. All these guys using their packaging material, most of them they are using plastic. So they'll be the first one you should catch hold of. You go there, work with them in tandem, and then probably you'll have CSR fund. So I think you have to go out and identify the industry. Not every organization is putting their CSR funds into the environment, because environment part is looked after by a different division at their manufacturing plant and waste management and all, But yes, you can reach out to them and identify the industry. And you have to see whether they are investing in this. But yes, the violator or the polluter, they want to invest, because that's the only salvation they have as of now. So you reach out to them.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, next, please.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My question is, how can technology help reduce the environmental impact of plastic production? We keep hearing about biodegradable plastics as an alternative to single-use plastic bags, for example, dustbin bags. But can biodegradable plastics be a sustainable alternative to traditional plastics? And what are some of the key differences between these materials?
Souvik, you would like to take?
Yeah, so there is a lot of hype on biodegradable plastics, and so the basic difference, if I have to bring it down to something which can be understandable to everybody, the sources are different. So for example, the production of the polymers that we are talking about in case of plastics would be the fossil fuel route, and the source for producing the sustainable plastics that we are talking about is the bio-based routes. That can be first generation bio-based products, second generation agricultural residue, and so on and so forth. But there is also a lot of myth around biodegradable plastics, because biodegradable plastics is not that simply when you have used that plastic and you just keep it in the environment, it will automatically degrade. It's not the case. Biodegradable plastics also need very specific environmental conditions, and only under those conditions biodegradable plastics degrade. So we have to have a very clear understanding of, like, if the biodegradable plastics come, then it becomes a kind of a silver bullet which will in a way address all the packaging solutions. It is actually not the case. So that is the reason, while these technologies will come up, might replace some of the ones which are almost difficult to kind of weed away, because plastics in a way would be there maybe for certain other applications. Maybe for those applications, these plastics are going to be replaced with the biodegradable ones. But at least what I feel is that the ones that we use on a day-to-day basis, which has the maximum impact, and in no way they can be collated and brought into a space where they can be given the desired environment for biodegradation, that's not going to happen. I don't know if that answers your question.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Yeah, hi.
My question is, despite being aware of the environmental risk possessed by plastics, many of us are forced to use plastic when we are staying in hotels. Even the best hotels offer us drinking water in plastic bottles. Therefore, it becomes difficult for us to avoid plastic when we are traveling. Please suggest what can be done in this situation.
You would like to?
Yeah. So, a very relevant question, and I had actually pointed this out almost a year back in one of the meetings with the Municipal Corporation of Delhi. And we came up with something called a green hotel concept, yeah? And we told them to place, at least in Delhi, some cards where the sustainable option is the default option, right? They will place a glass bottle rather than a plastic bottle. Only if you want a plastic bottle will you ask for it, not the other way around, right? So that was one of the biggest inputs. It's not going to happen overnight, as I said. It's a slow change, but it's already started happening. We can see the glass bottles here, right? And also in, as you said, in some of the hotels, the best hotels. So I will say here, I've recently traveled to a couple of cities where I actually found the change has already started. The bottles were replaced with glass bottles, and instead of those small toiletry pouches, I could see the big refill bottles there. So the solution is already there, it's in place, it's just a matter of time, and it also depends on consumers. If the consumer doesn't demand it, the supply will automatically go down.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Ruby. Yeah, next question.
Good afternoon, I'm Benjamin. Feel really fortunate to be here. So my question is to Mr. Souvik, and I also have a second question for Mr. Amit. But the first question is, I've done my master's, bachelor's in polymer chemistry, and when I was there, I was studying, I came across a professor who was actually developing a poly bag which, if you put in water, it would get dissolved. And I think you also answered a question about biodegradable plastics. But I just really want to know, I'm all for the 3 R's, you know, reduce, reuse, and recycle, but I also love science. So I just want to know, you know, if there are any products in development, like you said, if you went to Sweden and stuff. So are there any products like this in development, and how far are we from seeing them, you know, implemented in the market, and so that everyone can, you know, use it?
So just to clarify, are you talking about the biodegradable products in the market?
Right, biodegradable plastics, right.
Well, at least in India, I haven't come across any which is being used at a very large scale or even a moderate scale. Those might be at a very small, very limited kind of a scale of production, largely because the costs of production is comparatively higher compared to the conventional. So that is the reason why paying any customer would be willing to actually pay 3 to 4 times the price of a typical product for biodegradable packaging material, particularly when the product is not going to be in use maybe for a longer time. because from a cost conscious consumer, they would always look at the money that they are spending on any product and how long the utility is actually derived. So from that perspective, if I look at it, then the utility is not very attractable unless and until there is a lot of other incentive mechanisms to ensure that that product is available at a very low cost to an individual. But I know a lot of institutes, including the CSR institutes and the IITs, wherein we are also collaborating with Kanpur, with Guwahati, and developing various kind of biodegradable plastics. But this is one of the biggest challenge that we are facing. The second biggest challenge is the dedicated availability of feedstock, because when we have to have large scale production, how will we ensure that a dedicated flow of feedstocks are made available and ensure that the production remains like constant throughout the entire duration of the year?
Right. That does make sense. Thank you so much. If I'm allowed to, can I go for a second short question?
So this will be the last one for today. Yeah, okay.
For me?
For everybody.
Okay, then.
So,
okay, then I'd probably let them have the opportunity. Thank you so much.
okay, so last question from one of the...
It was a very, I think, enlightening and at the same time very encouraging session. So I have both a question and a comment. Given that BSG is a spiritual organization and we believe that self-transformation and inspiring through our actions is the best form of bringing the change. So I think Ruby ma'am gave some examples which were very, very inspiring. But at the same time, Amit sir, you mentioned that there's just certain few organizations, they are the ones who are, going and, really impacting the planet. So that somehow was very, very, there was a dissonance that there are some people in the society who are acting against, and that ownership went away, and there are certain people who are responsible for it. And probably the whole reason why plastic has come is because whenever it came, there was a need felt at that point in time, and now as society is changing, the entire landscape will change. And it is not just one organization or two organizations. I think everybody today is using plastic. But if we just make few people or few organizations responsible for it, my question is that will we move away from inspiration and ownership and self-transformation and make just few people make and look like they are the ones who are just destroying this planet? So yeah, I would say that we should lead by example and lead by inspiration, which is the true philosophy of Bodhisattva, never disparaging. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, Amit, yes.
So, when we talk about that few organization taking ownership, and that to spiritual organization, so I come from the standpoint that they have majority of followers. Probably NGO would have 20 people, 30 people, 40 people, 50 people, 100 people working for them. But the spiritual organization, they have more and more followers. So they can, come as a catalyst, and thus by reaching out to other around them. So change comes with a number.
No, sir, I meant you were saying that those MNCs, you took names of few organizations and all that. I felt every one of us here works for some or the other company and uses plastic. Just demeaning few people out there might not be the right way to bring the change. It's about inspiration, raising awareness, and like ma'am was very beautifully saying that when you raise awareness, moving away from activist mindset to really the Bodhisattva mindset is something. And being a BSG member, I couldn't really relate the way you were explaining. So apologies for that.
No, that's all right.
Yeah.
So I'm an activist. So, of course, I cannot take the name of, 5,000 listed companies. So I mentioned few, but all of them, including us, we are part of this disaster. When I say that we stop buying bread, so we can really ask them to do what we want. So yeah, you're right. I cannot name all of them, but I come from an activist mind because we have done a sweet talk. We are doing it. I understand at some point of time, we have to put that into action. and time is to act now before it's too late. So that's my idea. I'm sorry if I offended you in any way, but I have respect for all the companies because they are generating a lot of employment, revenue, and they are working as a catalyst to raise our economic levels, but at the same time, they are destroying us. So that's the truth and that's the fact. And I don't mince my words. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So, okay.
So Amit's response and to your question, I have a very small example to share. There is a Pacific island country called Nauru. I don't know how many of you have heard of it. It was one of the poorest countries in the early 90s, in the 1900s. And one fine day just before, I think, the Second World War, they found that there is a rich deposit of rock phosphate, right, which goes into manufacturing fertilizers. They found and started exporting it. The Green Revolution came in 1970s and 80s. They became the richest country in the world. And when they realized that they have extracted whatever is there underground, they became one of the poorest countries in the world. So that's a myopic vision of how you are utilizing your resources. Are you really creating a fund? For example, Norway has done it. They have created a dedicated fund for utilizing those financial resources which can be used for supporting the livelihood and other development in the long run. Now, I think rather than from that perspective, we need to look at it from a very holistic perspective, in a futuristic perspective, in terms of how we are making the best and judicious use of resources for the environment and for the society.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. Just to close the Q&A and the answer to your question, the last question, the very objective of launching today the campaign, Say No to Plastics within BSG is, as you rightly said, that most of our members work in different organizations across the country and also maybe across the world. So the idea is that how by adopting this as a lifestyle in our own daily lives, we can influence our environment. So whether it is co-workers or the management of the companies where we are working for, I'm sure if we continue in this struggle and endeavor, we will definitely be able to make this influence bigger and bigger. So that's the whole idea. So the very fact that we practice a Buddhist philosophy, which is fundamentally respecting every individual, every living being on this earth. So no one is wrong, but we have to take the lead in correcting what things need to be corrected. So thank you very much once again for this lively Q&A, and thanks to all of you. Yeah.
Thank you so much for this most insightful Q&A session. Now I request Mr. Vishesh Gupta to please present mementos to our esteemed guests.
Our Future Division representatives would like to share their determinations towards the SDG movement. I invite Young Phoenix Pavni Chawla from South Delhi area to share her determination with us.
President Ikeda says, and I quote, "We must remind ourselves that these people who are living in extreme uncertainty in desperate circumstances are our fellow human beings, no different from us. It is just that they were born in different countries and have different backgrounds and life stories. Good morning, everyone. I, Pavni Chawla, stand here on behalf of the Young Phoenix Girls Division to share my determination on behalf towards SDGs. First, I am determined to embrace each life with compassion while contributing towards the SDGs. By making President Ikeda's vision and spirit my own, and through the power of dialogue, I determine to not only accomplish SDGs myself, but also continue to encourage my fellow classmates and friends to contribute to these goals and ensure that they are leading a sustainable lifestyle. Second, I am personally determined to achieve SDG 12, responsible consumption and production, towards 2030. Towards this, I have begun segregating plastics and storing e-waste such as used batteries, remote controls, broken electronic equipment, and disposing them to e-waste recycling companies. Because of this, we have been able to control unsustainable disposal of items such as single-use plastic in our colony as well. Third, by being closely connected with BSG each day, I am determined to awaken each life, including my own, to our infinite potential to create a positive change in our lives and lives of others. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pavni. I now invite young lion Udaivir Khurana from West Delhi area to share his determination.
Good afternoon, everyone. Inspired by my mentor, SGI President Daisaku Ikeda's life and writings, I determine to work on my own inner transformation and become strong and capable so that I can contribute towards building a sustainable world and help the people and this planet live with dignity. I specifically determined to take practical action in my daily life by cutting down the use of plastic in any form, recycling e-waste by extending the lifespan of my electronic gadgets or donating them, to re-evaluate if I really need to buy a new electronic gadget, continuing to save electricity by switching off all electricity sockets when not in use, walking and cycling more to restrict carbon emissions. Towards hunger management, I will continue to not waste food, donate leftovers or recycle them. I determine to record and share these actions on the BSG for SDG app at least once in a month. Towards 2030, I determine to make our world a better place to live for current and future generations. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Udaivir. I now request Shruti Nangia to please deliver the vote of thanks.
So good afternoon, everyone, once again. Firstly, just thank you very, very much. I think a big round of applause for such an incredible, wonderful kickoff for the No Plastic campaign. I feel organizations around the world can have campaigns, and they must, and they do have their kickoffs, but nothing can match the spirit of what we have in BSG, and the commitment and the passionate spirit that we all possess. This is unmatched anywhere in the world, and it is all because of the sincere spirit that each one of you possesses in the depth of your heart to really respond to the mentor, to really make sure that each and every life lives with dignity, and we are able to cherish and preserve this precious blue planet Earth. So thank you very, very much. And I also want to say special thanks to all our esteemed guests for joining us today. So many insights, so many takebacks that all of you have shared. If I can just quickly recap, perhaps, so Diya spoke so many points, of course, but so many practical points that we can apply in our daily life, through which we can, first of all, see and recognize plastic, and then maybe, remove plastic from our life. And then Dr. Ruby, you talked about how we are ingesting 5 grams of plastic on a weekly basis. It's such an alarming fact. I think this is ingrained in my mind, and I'm sure everybody's mind. And So to be conscious of the fact that we are not contributing to that 5 grams in any way, and we should only reduce it going forward. And Souvik, for all the points that you shared, very technical in nature, I will go back and rehear your speech once. But my key takeaway was that to really reduce plastic, I think as a human being, as a practical individual level, that's one thing that we can definitely work upon. And Amit, I think you summarized everything, the main lesson that I could take back in a way that we have to, be the change that we wish to see in the world. What Souvik had also talked about. We have to become those change makers. We have to be the protagonists who are taking lead in transforming the world. So these are few key takebacks for me, and I'm sure there are so many others that all of us have taken back. But let's really make this meeting a fresh start for all of us to really respond to our mentor, to really make sure that by 2030 we really create a most unified world where every life is able to live a healthy life, a happier life. In the end, I just want to quote one small poem from Edward Hale. He says that I am only one, but still I am one. I cannot do everything, but I can do something. And because I cannot do everything, I will not refuse to do the something I can do. So let's really let's remember the power of one and put that into action from this moment on. So thank you very much to each and every one of you for joining today, and to the BTS for really supporting the success of today's meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Shruti.
Our deepest thanks to all of you for making today's meeting so memorable. Thank you so much for attending and being with us.